Hold on for a minute, guys. I want to bring Joe Johns into this conversation. Joe, we're watching all of the political fallout here in Washington, but as a lot of our viewers know, there's a presidential contest coming up in the not-too-distant future, only 3 years. But Hillary Clinton, she's throwing her weight around a little bit, isn't she?
That's for sure, Wolf. She's keeping very public, accepting awards and giving speeches. But former Secretary of State and Senator Hillary Clinton has not said she's going to run in 2016. Just the same, there is a super political committee moving the train without her, holding events and getting people engaged.
Great. How you doing?
Hopes are running high for Hillary to run for the highest office in 2016. The latest Des Moines Register poll shows 89% of Iowa Democrats have a positive opinion of her, compared to 71% who feel the same way about Vice President Joe Biden. And the super PAC Ready for Hillary is trying to encourage her. It's kicked off events across the country, even though the would-be candidate hasn't said she's ready to run.
It was just funny that they would do all of this for someone who may not even be running for the presidency.
It's among many low-dollar fundraisers at swanky lounges like this one in Washington, D.C., with a price tag of just $20.16. It's meant to draw out the grassroots base and not just the big-money donors. And even without an official campaign, Mrs. Clinton has gotten congressional supporters from key swing states rallying troops on her behalf.
These are the ground troops. These are the soldiers that will be out in Ohio, in Colorado, in Florida. They're excited about doing the grassroots effort. They don't have $10,000 to give to a campaign. They got $20 and they'll give you all the shoe leather in the world.
And the goal isn't just to get folks to sign checks, but to sign up and volunteer as well. So far, they say they have over 1 million supporters and make the claim that every 9 seconds they sign up someone new. Earlier this year, the group said it had raised $1.25 million, but that was before they started picking up the pace. Waves of events have taken place already, and with more fundraisers to come, it's sure to raise criticism that the super PAC is becoming a campaign in waiting.
I think it's a never-ending campaign, but as whether this is a phenomenon for Hillary or whether this will be the way to campaign in the future, where 3.5 years out, you're going to have to start building your list, getting out there, getting your name out there, literally with hundreds of people.
The presidential election is pretty far off, but this organization is trying to establish some relevance now by encouraging supporters to get behind White House agenda items and helping Democrats running for Congress, all the while claiming to be Mrs. Clinton's echo chamber. Wolf?
The presidential election may be, almost 3 years away, but the Iowa caucuses, remember, Joe, only less than 2 years, maybe only 2 years away, depending when those Iowa caucuses are in New Hampshire, South Carolina to follow. So, Joe, thank you. Let's get back to Dana, Gloria, and Ryan. Let me go to Gloria first. It looks like everything is falling into place, at least at this early stage, for Hillary Clinton.
Look, Hillary Clinton is off on her own, by the way, giving lots of speeches, not out there campaigning, but she certainly isn't in hiding. Then she's got this other organization, which is completely separate from her, starting to raise money, do what they want to do. So, you know, if you look at it, you have to say Hillary Clinton is running, even though they're running on 2 separate tracks. I mean, she is not running this fundraising organization, but she is running her own schedule.
If Hillary Clinton does run, Ryan, do you think Joe Biden will challenge her?
I don't think so. There's no case for Biden getting in the race.
He is the sitting vice president.
He's the sitting vice president, but there's not a policy case. It's not clear what he would run on against her. In 2008, Barack Obama had the Iraq War. There was something very, very specific that Democrats really cared about. There was a huge difference between those two candidates. Right now, it's not clear what that issue is for anyone who would challenge Hillary Clinton. But I would also caution that I bet we can find video or writings of each one of us at this point in the cycle in 2008 saying, "Oh, this is Hillary's. This is over. Hillary's got this."
You took the words out of my mouth.
Anything can happen. We just don't know who that candidate and what the issue is yet.
You took the words out of my mouth because the new Des Moines Register poll, I believe out today, has her approval rating sky high, absolutely sky high.
Yeah. We went back. Is also at 71%.
He is. It's approval. Okay. It's not a horse race. But I asked our polling director, Keating Holland, where she was this, I guess, 8 years ago, leading into 2008, and 82%. Well, nationally, not in Iowa. Nationally. Higher. Well, the point is that she was sky high. Nobody could even dream that Barack Obama.
This is among likely Democrats.
Right, and no one could even dream that Barack Obama would come up and get her. And knowing the people around her and just sort of having an understanding of how she operates, she's well aware of that. She's seen this movie before, and she wants to make sure that she doesn't get too comfortable this early, even though her approval is so high.
But also, this makes her a target. Not that she wouldn't be a target anyway, because Hillary Clinton is always going to be a target. But when she's that high in the polls, the Republican candidates are going to be shooting at her and trying to knock her down and say they'll be talking about Benghazi. They'll be talking. So she is already this person they're aiming for out there because they believe she's also the presumptive nominee. As you say, we've been there before. But
There's a set of issues on the Democratic left that are sort of bubbling up that it will be interesting to see how she responds to. There's the populist economic argument out there by people like de Blasio in New York and Elizabeth Warren in Massachusetts. Hillary Clinton hasn't really embraced one side of that debate. There are these surveillance issues, this sort of libertarian side of the Democratic Party that's becoming more vocal. And there are even some of these social issues like marijuana legalization in some of these states. So there's that whole set of issues that a lot of young people are kind of into right now on the Democratic side. And I think that's the wing of the party that could challenge her. Although so far, none of those issues looks to me like the Iraq War and Obama.
Speaking of Iraq, one little teaser. She's got a book coming out. It's going to come out in the spring.
In the spring of 2014.
In the spring of next year.
2014.
Correct, 2014, and it's going to be primarily about her time as Secretary of State. So she's going to be able to try to craft her own message about her time on the world stage, about that legacy. Maybe prepare people for a female commander-in-chief if she so chooses. But it's going to be a publicity tour, and it might look like a campaign publicity tour.
And honestly, I think it all depends on how well the economy is doing and how tied she is to President Obama and his success, whether it's success in foreign policy, whether John Kerry has some success in the Middle East, for example. So there are events that we don't even know are coming at us yet.
It's maybe 3 years away from the election, maybe 2 years away from the Iowa caucus, but it's only 1 year away when these candidates really, after the midterm, they have to say they're running. They have to start campaigning. They got to raise money. They got to get a staff. So it's going to come upon us a lot more quickly than a lot of folks think.
She has a staff in waiting, though. She may be a little different, and Biden may be like that as well. So.
Poor Biden. He doesn't get the respect he might deserve.
Thanks very much.